Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week I want to try and get this bench for Morrisons knocked on the head. See you in a minute. Now, along with this lifting flap for the railway club, this bench for Morrisons has been one of the things that was biting off more than I could chew, really. It's been a much bigger project than I thought it would be, and too many other things have interfered with it along the way. So I'm anxious. The weather's now turning towards being nice all the while. These people are going to want this bench soon, so I want to try and get it finished as far as I can, ready really for them to decide what finish they want on it, and then I'll probably do a wrap-up video of the finishing and fixing it in place when we get all that information. But let's move on and try and get the seat part finished. Okay, so it's bench glue up time. I'm going to make a start on getting these ends glued up. I can only probably do one at a time, a day apart, if you see what I mean, but we might as well make a start now. They're pretty much rough sanded and ready to go. So I'm just going to get the thing reasonably soaked in glue and make a start putting it together. I think there is probably an order to doing this, but we'll see. Come back and clean up afterwards. Just want to make sure there's a really good solid amount of glue in there. And it's already starting to get messy. Right, so that will be going into there at the same time as that is going into there. And that is going into there. Right, that's the first one done. I'm going to take it outside and it'll help it dry out in the sun outside and get me a little bit of bench space in here as well. I'm not going to try and do two at once because I've only got 4 of these shorter clamps and I don't want to end up with sort of 5-foot long clamps floating around, but we'll just take this outside and then get on with something else. Right, time for the second side glue up on the bench. Pretty much a repeat of the last, so I won't take too long showing you what's going on. Same principle. The other one seems to work well enough. Right, that's got the second leg glued up. It's a bit more of a controlled process this time, having done it the first time. Gone together quite nicely. So that's pretty much it for the sides. We can move on to the backs, the seat part next. Right, had a good day at Menning Sheds today. I've cut the 3 pieces that I need to hold the bottom of the bench together, the seat part, and they'll bolt in at either end to the existing ends. So there's 3 of those, one for the middle and one for each end. I'm going to put 5 pieces of CLS for the seat, which will effectively form the seat part. And I decided that although they give the right spacings and everything, they were a bit thick and heavy in terms of that way. So I've taken the CLS down to 28mm rather than 38. So the slats are now a lot thinner. Still got strength in them, but they will look a bit nicer, I think, at that size. So I've done that, I've taken 10mm off all of those, and I've also done the front. There's like a cloaking piece that goes on the front of the seat part, which goes in there like that, and again, by taking that 10mm off there, it means I can cover up that front piece of that rail there. Right, so I've got a bit of a screw up on the bench. What I hadn't done, I'd measured top and bottom rails and they're the same length. But what I hadn't realised is that they're slightly out of line. And it means that I've got to take a bit off the bottom of that one and a bit off the top of that one, which in itself isn't a big problem. I should have done that first and didn't. What it does mean is that my distances apart on all of this are going to be out by about 10 or 15mm, which means I don't think I can be reusing that piece, but fortunately I've caught it in time. I've only got, most likely I can take 5mm off either end of that one, that's not a problem, but the screw holes on that one will be wrong. So I need to just get my head back into gear, get that sorted, and then we'll undo those two screws and see where we are. I might still be able to get them in as long as I keep that spacing the same, but let's have a look. Measure twice, cut once. Right, I think I've got away with it. Front rails adjusted. It'll just mean I've got to move the centre line of that piece across a bit for the remaining screws, and I can bring them in very slightly on the angle as well. You can see there it's about 5mm either side, but it'll still get plenty of purchase into there. As I say, what I'll do is I'll actually bring that line in very, very slightly towards the midpoint over the length of all the other slats. So I think we've survived that one, dodged the bullet. Right, that's got everything lined up with spacers of the right thickness, and I've levelled up all the ends. So I think I'm pretty much ready to start screwing all that together. Only I haven't got enough screws at the moment, so I've got to go and get some 50mm screws. And then we're just about there, I think. That's got the base finished now of the seat. I've got to put a slightly larger round over on the front edge, I think. And I'll probably just put a small round over on that back edge there. But I'll need to take the rail off to do that and get my router out. But other than that, now it's just a long, tedious job of sanding. So I just need to put the inserts in now to bolt these things together. I've marked where I want them to go. I've got a long, very thin drill that I use as a pilot that I can go through into the the side arm pieces when I want to, but I just find it's easier to keep this upright with a long drill, and that'll just put a pilot hole through and we can chase it out bigger once it's in. Right, I've moved out into the conservatory for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I haven't got the room in the shed, but also I want to get something I know is a flat and level surface. Can't do it in the garden with all the undulations you get there. So I can make sure that everything is vertical and horizontal as it needs to be before I get to put the back in, because I'm fairly certain that the back is going to need a few millimetres of trim, and to do that I want to make sure it's absolutely dead right. So that's now both ends vertical, the bed is level. I'm just going to run that pilot drill through in just to mark where the inserts need to go in the bottom, so we can get that screwed up and bolted up, and then we can move on to the back. Right, so that should give us something which is a bit more of a big simple lump, which it is, and it feels pretty solid, so I don't think there's any great issues with that. It's already pretty solid just with the two bolts. By the time we get the ones in the back just to stop any rock side to side, that should be there. One of the downsides of working in the conservatory in the summer is that it's a bit warm. It's 33 degrees in here at the moment with all the doors open, so yeah. So at the moment I am about 5mm too long, which is great. That's a position I am really quite happy to be in, because it means I can just trim it to suit. The question is whether I take it off one side or the other, or they're both the same. There's 50mm on that end, there's 45 on that end, so there we go. We can take 5mm off this end and be in with a fighting chance of it fitting. Right, I'll put a couple of clamps on the back at the bottom where I want this to sit down to. See if it fits now. Yeah. Right, I've got the back pretty much where I want it to be now. I'm just going to mark out set distances on each end and mark where the actual back rail sits. I'll drill through with the long drill again and then go back in through that way to get the markings for the inserts to go into the back. So we're on the last straight home, I think, now. Right, that's it done. Happy now with that, ready to go for sanding. We're pretty much there with it. I might take 5 or 10mm off the back legs because it feels as if it's sloping slightly forwards, but no, I'm happy with that. We'll get it taken apart to sand and get ready for finish. Right, so that's a huge load off my mind really, because I've now, as far as I'm concerned, finished it. There will be a bit of sanding to do and there will be some finishing to do, but it's not anything that I can't pass on to somebody else if I had to, and I don't think it'll take that long to do anyway. So it's pretty much there. As far as I'm concerned, it's one I can tick off the list and worry about doing something else now and try and get the outstanding things done. We're on the way and we're getting there slowly, but this one's a great big one to get out of the way. Hope the video was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next time. We'll be doing something different in the shed. I'll see you then. Bye.